Hello, I'm Dow Bartling, and welcome to another episode of Dow's Weekly Digest. You know, I've been thinking about keepsakes. No, not the kind that you buy in a gift shop that maybe has the year on it stamped somewhere. That's a souvenir. I mean the real ones. Things you don't plan to keep, but somehow they kept you. Most people imagine this kind of have a drawer. You open it once in a while and you wonder why you still have half of the things that's in there. And then you pick one up and suddenly you're not standing in your house anymore. You're somewhere else, some other time, with people who mattered. So let me ask you, do you have any keepsakes? Why do you keep them? And do you remember the story behind them? This little pocket knife, I got this when I was 12 years old. It came from my Grandpa Dad. That's why I call him Grandpa Dad. Now, we both lived on an Indian reservation. A little village, I mean little. It was called Macy, Nebraska. Now, my grandparents' house only had 4 rooms. It was also small. No running water. And if someone sneezed in the kitchen, you'd hear, "Bless you," from the bedroom. That was small. But it had everything that mattered. Now, one night, I was watching TV with him, and my grandpa reached into his key cover holes up here, the upper pockets, and he handed me this little penknife. The next day, he showed me how to take care of it, how to sharpen it, and how to respect it. That knife wasn't just a tool. It was a message. You're old enough now. You're trusted. That's what a real keepsake does. It doesn't say much, but it says everything. Later in life, after LaDonna and I were married, we gave each other silver bracelets. Not sterling, no, not sterling silver. Nothing fancy, but they were all so very, very special. Each one had a name and a date on it that had been engraved. No, not our wedding date, the name of Vietnam POW and the date that they were captured. That's what was on these little bracelets that we gave to each other. Now mine read, Colonel John S. Finley III, 4/28 of 68. An Iowa boy from the U.S. Air Force. He spent 1,781 days captured in captivity before he was released on March 14th of 1973. We wore these bracelets every day until they came home. That bracelet reminded me that freedom isn't guaranteed and that remembering someone is a form of responsibility. I received this from my peers during an adult wilderness training session. I was an instructor, and the group was divided into clans, animal totems. I led the Bear Clan. At the end, they bestowed me this little matito. Now, matito stood for leadership, strength, and protection. That bear reminds me that leadership isn't about position. It's about what others see in you, sometimes before you see it in yourself. Keepsake. One early trip to Panama, I spent some time with family, of course, watching and asking questions. LaDonna said I asked too many questions, but I was asking about how they prepared the food. Now, my interpreter was one of my nieces, always. They spoke very good English. Now, one day at my tia Fina's home, we had lobster that had been caught that morning. And as I was leaving LaDonna and I, tia Fina handed me something. When we were leaving, she handed me this half of a gourd. Now, she had used it that day to scoop rice when she was getting ready to cook the rice, on what quantity of rice to do. She was using this. But written on this little gourd was written from your tia Fina Martinez, Horcancito, Cherokee, Panama. Now, most people would just call it a little bowl. I call it a memory that you can hold. Even now, in my upper 70s, I still receive keepsakes. Now, these two come from the youngest branch of my family tree. My grandson, Henry Andrew Martinez. Every year, we make a pilgrimage, you might say, to Asbury Park in Ocean Grove in New Jersey, which is just a fancy way of saying we go to the beach. Now, Henry wasn't quite 3, and he gave me this little rock. That's what he gave me. Along with then, I can see if I can hold it up for you, this little bitty seashell. Henry found it himself, and he gave them to his abuelito, his G-Papa. That's me. That's all. But here's the thing. Those are priceless because keepsakes aren't about what they're worth. They're about who they're from and when they entered your life. So here's the lesson that I've learned. Keepsakes are about how we carry people forward and how we let others carry us forward. And one day, you're going to realize you're not just receiving them anymore, you're giving them. And if you're lucky, someone years from now will open a drawer, pick something up, and say, I don't know why I still have this, but I know exactly why I keep it. Now, one of the keepsakes I keep in the old memory is that I do know this. Blessed are they who ease the pain of misfortune, for they shall be called insurance agents. You take care.